Hello everyone, we are at 28th edition of Pune International Film Festival. My name is Bhavesh and I am with Biswajeet Bora, who is the director of Boomba, right?
Yeah.
I have a few questions about your film. I have watched it right now for about 15 minutes. I've literally loved that movie. So my first question will be, what were the challenges that you faced with the inexperienced casting?
Yeah, it was lots of like challenges I had to face. Initially, actually, I supposed to make this film in Hindi, and there is a big studio in Bombay, so that studio was supposed to produce the film. So finally, because I was waiting for that, and suddenly, due to some unavoidable reasons, they had to back out the project, and I was looking for producers, financiers, and in between, one of my friend Louis Kumar Burman, he came up and said why don't you make a independent cinema, and so immediately we made it during that actually COVID times, and since this project itself actually I was as I told you, it was supposed to make in Hindi, but this particular subject was from the tribal background, so I wanted to tell a story about that rural background, so rural especially rural education system. So that's the reason I found it in missing language, and because for the first time I have made around 8 films, but for the first time actually I am doing with this non-professional they are non-actors, but the good thing is that none of the people actors, they yet to see the theaters, so they are like that. So but it was very fun, and they are very as I say it's very spontaneous, so it was very nice to work with them, and I because that language I even don't know, so I had to tell them about in Assamese, so they would translate. There was no actually dialogue writers, so my dialogues, it was in Assamese, so they translate during that process, during the shooting, they translate into missing language. So I would say this guy, particularly Boomba, has done a tremendous job, and people actually all over the world, people are like his acting. Yeah.
Yes. And my next question will be, that movie was shot in the Golaghat area.
Yeah.
That is the same place where you were born and raised.
Yeah.
So have you included anything, your personal experience growing up as a kid there in Golaghat?
No, I was surprised because see that it was suddenly I have because the missing language, that language I am making, I already made this film. It was that language, though I am missing people are staying in Golaghat. It's a very nearby. It's almost from my place is 25 kilometers. I never been there before. I for the first time actually I went there during that location Reiki. So and I am surprised in India. There are lots of languages, lots of cultures. This is the diversity actually India has. So it's they are very innocent, and that whole world, whatever I have shown in the film, that world is so much of peace, and they are so innocent people. There's the plus point, and I hope that people already like that film, and I hope that what I'm going to I have portrayed about this particular education system. So people. The government and that other people, they should know why I'm making this film. So it's very important.
And seriously, about Boomba, right?
Yeah.
It's it seeks to educate about just the importance of the education,
Yeah.
especially in the rural areas.
Yes.
So I was questioning that. What do you think? What will be the expectation for the audience of this such a story?
Yeah, so I have raised an issue about that awareness regarding that rural education. If you see that we are the people who are not convinced with the government-run schools, because we always have the tendency of sending our kids to that English schools, but the other schools, private medium schools, but we don't want to send our kids to especially government-run schools. So why? Because of somehow the other we are the responsible for that. Maybe the teachers, whatever we have shown in the film, maybe that guardians, maybe that as a whole, making now that in the government they are giving lots of facilities midday meal, books, then that whole building and all, everything is there, but still that students, kids they don't want to go there in the schools, the government-run schools, because actually that education system has to be taken seriously in those rural areas. Otherwise, no point of developing a school, or maybe you are getting salary, but there is no point if you are not teaching properly to the children. Yeah.
The whole movie, the whole staff members were obviously were dependent on that particular student.
Yes.
Exactly. And about the shooting, you have completed the whole shooting in 13 days.
Yes.
So it was so challengeable. How you pull it off?
Actually, before that, I had around 3-4 days workshop, but I did not want them to keep as a director. I wanted to make it, you enjoy that whole thing, whatever you want to portray in the film. I told them about the gist, about the whole scenario, and they performed it. So that's why I'm just telling, because in India there are lots of hidden talents in India, in rural places. As I told you, they don't know about theater and all. They have not experienced yet, but still, and they are not shy or something. They are very spontaneous. So that's the reason I could finish this thing, and after making 8 films, so maybe my experience also somehow the other counted it, because I was so organized during the shooting, and as a filmmaker I always believe not about actors, that whole team, they should get rest. So I always shoot around 10 to 11 hours, not more than that. So I believe that all these crew members, they have that their own family and all. So we have this life is very precious for all of us. So I made it I'm creating an environment. Maybe it's a very small thing, but I'm just creating that.
It is really amazing that you pulled a movie, 76-minute movie in just 13 days. It is amazing. And the one last question, what inspired you to make this movie?
Actually, I think around few years back, around 7 to 8 years back. So I saw a newspaper news in rural, regional news channel. So one guy is in the school, the whole school. That school was so bad. So one guy was traveling to the school, and he was the only guy. So that stuck in mind, and it stuck a couple of months with me. So I thought I should tell something about the audience regarding that particular subject. So I just worked on that, and I told for the first time, actually I told this subject to Janu Barua sir, whom I worked with 7 years as an assistant. So I told him, and he said why don't you approach CBSC? CFSI. Yes. So he said let's work on that. But it did not happen, and after that I approached a studio, and they liked it. But now I'm happy because I made this independent cinema with these actors. Otherwise, it would have been definitely I would have popular, or maybe I gained some money. But as a filmmaker, I'm happy because whatever I wanted to make this through this film, I wanted to tell that the audience. So I am just somehow the other I succeed on that.
Yes, you did. I'm pretty much sure that everyone seriously understand your message, the particular message you were trying to give everyone. And it was an amazing movie. I have personally watched it, seriously. And I really wish it will be same successful as the previous movie.
Got on the balcony.
Yes, the same.
Just I have to I must tell, because that Pune International Festival, because last year they selected my film God on the Balcony, showcased my film. This year also they showcased this Boomba ride. So I'm happy, and I feel home this Pune Film Festival, and it will remain same, and in future also. Thank you, and all the best for you also.
Thank you, and have a nice day, sir. It was really nice to meet you. This is Bhavesh Manghanani at PIFF 20th edition.